In some of my books, I write about the term called quantum physics. Quantum physics is the realm below the atomic level. And when I talk about atoms, I'm talking about everything that is material is constructed from this atom, which is a frequency of energy. But the subatomic elements below the atoms are moving at such speeds even faster than the level of atoms. In fact, if you had a pair of glasses that could see that realm, you would see nothing but blurs and speeds and some colors. So that realm is the realm that science has a very difficult time understanding. And the reason for that is every time an observer watches or looks or observes the phenomenon below the atomic level, it changes according to the perception of the person observing. Now, the reason I'm talking about quantum is because it starts to give us language for the spiritual realm. Remember, Jesus said, whatever you believe, you can have. He said, nothing is impossible if you can believe. So that means, and science verifies this, that we have this infinitesimal sea of particles that are just out there in this invisible realm, which are little pieces of energy, so tiny, little particles. And those particles at some point interact with the intentions or consciousness of people, and they become waves. Now, if you are conscious of these particles, these waves, or what we call words of God, then those waves can be made visible. This is what the Bible calls faith. This is what we consider to be the invisible becoming visible. These are what we call miracles. These are what we call phenomena that science doesn't have an answer for. Science does call popping a QUIFF. That means you change the wave frequency into a visible reality. Let's say that you have a problem in your body. Let's say you need a miracle. You've been diagnosed with some kind of disease. And you read the words of Christ. And you believe that what he says is true. That when he talked about healing people, when he talked about you can have whatever you believe and nothing is impossible, you believe that. And so you started to become conscious that Christ has created all things. All things are made by him and through him and for him. And you know that a disease was not made by him. You know it was not created for you. You know those things that are contrary to your body. He did not have the influence in making that to attack you. That your belief, now listen to me, your belief has been so strong at whatever a physician has said or whatever a diagnosis has been, that it has attracted, you have attracted through your belief, that thing into your being. Now remember, you can have whatsoever you say. He says that in Mark. And so a person starts to rehearse some diagnosis they have. They start to believe it, and your body starts to manifest the symptoms of what you've been thinking about, what you've been talking about. The same thing happens in reverse. If you start to believe what Christ has said, if you start to actually rehearse his reality, not your reality, his reality, you start to attract those things from heaven, those things in that invisible realm that were made for your benefit, for your prosperity, for your life to live health and in divine health. That starts to be attracted to you. But you can't be distracted. You can't one day do it and the next day listen to something else and be double-minded. You have to be conscious. So the same thing that happens in the invisible realm starts to manifest in you, in your life. And you start to see that you have been in control of everything that happens to you from the beginning. It is your responsibility. You have that power because you are born of Christ. Everything was made by Him and for Him. That includes you. That includes your mind. That includes your thoughts. So if you take responsibility by being conscious every day of where you are, what you're doing, and understanding why you believe what you believe, why you act the way you act, then you start to draw from the invisible realm the spiritual things that will solve many of our problems. God has created us to be problem solvers. We have inside of us the ability to change the condition of this planet by believing something totally different. Not what you hear in the media, not when someone tells you, not what you consider to be authority in the pulpit or in a doctor's office, but what Jesus has said. His word is authority. His reality should be your reality. And if you'll live that way and understand things from that perspective, then you will not have chaos in your life. You will live in the peace that passes all understanding. You'll understand what He said when He said, "Be at peace, for I have overcome the tribulations of this world." And if He says it, that means He's given us the authority to do it. Jesus is not in this world. He's outside your time, He's outside your calendar, and He's singing your name. It's the frequency of your name that holds your atoms together. It's the frequency of His voice that holds all material things together. And when you hear His voice, you will know it, because it's not going to sound like the voices from this world. It's going to carry a frequency of knowing. When you know without learning, you're hearing the voice of the Spirit. And that truth is what sets you free. Not anything in this world system, only His truth. When you start experiencing that without questioning why you're responding to something you can't identify specifically, then you will know that you're entering into the kingdom of God.